These are video solutions and discussion of most frequently missed questions on the back page of Quiz 1, the non-calculator section. First problem, you're asked to plot the following numbers on the number line below. We're looking for root 2 to be somewhere halfway between 1 and 2. If it is clearly closer to 2 than it is to 1, then you don't get full credit. But root 2 is approximately 1.4, so it has to be near halfway and slightly closer to 1. Negative 7/3 is the same thing as negative 2 1/3, so it has to be closer to negative 2 than it is to negative 3 to get those points. The interval x less than or equal to negative 4, here's negative 4, x is less than that, it has to go to the left with an arrow, and the negative 4 has to have a closed circle on it because this is included. The interval negative 1 to 1 is an open interval with the soft brackets, so they should have open circles on negative 1 and 1 with the number, with a section of the number line between negative 1 and 1 shaded. For number 2, we're asked to put the name of the smallest subset of real numbers to which the given number belongs. Negative 2 is an integer. A common mistake was to say that negative 2 is a real number. That is not false. It is true that negative 2 is real, but the smallest subset to which it belongs is an integer. Another common mistake was that negative 2, some kids wrote that negative 2 was a whole number. Whole numbers are a subset of integers. Integers include negative whole numbers, but whole numbers are, in fact, positive or 0. Pi is an irrational number. Number 3. This was a most commonly missed question, negative 2 to the 6th, and that will show up on the quiz on Monday. The most commonly wrong answer for this was a positive 64. And I think what students were thinking when they were looking at that problem, I saw some work here. I saw kids do negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 6 times. And in fact, when you write it like that, that is positive 64. But this is actually negative 2 in parentheses raised to the 6th power. When there is no parentheses there, that is really 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times negative 1. That's what this is. So this was an issue. So the correct answer is negative 64. This was an issue of PEMDAS. And so many students missed this question that will show up again on the next quiz. 3 cubed is 27. Negative 14 squared is 196. And square root of 120, when simplified using prime factorization, as shown here, is 2 square roots of 30. A great answer to 120 that wasn't the one we were looking for but showed good thinking is to say the square root of 120 is less than 11 but greater than 10. And that was demonstration of some good numeracy and good thinking and some knowledge of math facts around perfect squares. So if you wrote 10.9, 10.8, something smaller than 11 but larger than 10, then you got some partial credit for that. Number 4, using the right triangle to fill in the blanks. These were all really good. The most frequently missed question on this one, which only a few of you missed, was to recognize that here we're asking for the tangent of the angle B. And so opposite of B is little b, and adjacent to angle B is A. A common wrong answer was to do A over B, so not reading that this was the angle B and not the angle A as in the previous questions. Stop. Oh, sorry, a little technical difficulty there. Okay, going on to number 5. This is the correct answer to number 5. We were asked to simplify the expression on the right and then evaluate it when x is negative 2. So there were 2 parts of this question. One was to show that you could distribute this negative over the parentheses. So distributing a negative 1 makes this negative 3x. Distributing in this negative 1 to the negative 1 over here makes this a positive 1. And once you distribute this negative 1, the parentheses are removed. This leaves just 5x minus 3x plus 1 inside these parentheses, and you can simplify those or distribute the 2, as the student did here, to get 10x minus 6x plus 2, which can be combined, the like terms can be combined to give 4x plus 2. So that is what we are looking for, specifically the distribution of this negative 1 over these parentheses, and then the combination of like terms. If you plug in a -2, you know what evaluating is, that's great, and then if your answer is correct, it should be -6. Here, we're looking that you took whatever equation you got here and set it equal to 9. So if you set that up, even if you got this equation wrong here because of an earlier mistake, if you set that equation up equaling it to 9 and proceeded, you got some credit for this problem, even if your final answer was incorrect. The correct answer is 7/4. I want to highlight most frequent, my favorite mistake on this problem, and several students did it. And this problem, for sure, 5A will appear on the next quiz, because we need to make sure we can do this. An aside, this problem, the simplifying radicals, will also appear on the next quiz. All right, so the most commonly, a good mistake on number 5 that we can all learn from is here. Let's see, let's zoom in here. Here, the student dropped the negative sign, I think, and distributed 5x over -3x. Oh no, I know what they did. So when the student distributed the -1 over the 3x and the -1 here, they did not remove parentheses. And that's important. When you distribute the -1, the parentheses may be removed. If you keep the parentheses there, it starts to look like you're multiplying 5x by this quantity, -3x plus 1, and that leads you astray. Okay, so that if you made that mistake, please be aware of that. We will talk about that in class again. So another way that that looks is this student did the same thing. See, they distributed the negatives because this 3x is now -3x, and they distributed it to the -1, so that 1 is now a +1, but they did not remove the parentheses, which makes it look like a multiplication problem. That is incorrect. And this is just the same problem again. Distributed the negative. I love the showing of thinking there, but did not remove the parentheses, which makes it look like a multiplication problem again. So that is a common mistake. I have 4 papers right here, just off the top of my stack, of students who made that mistake. So we will be sure to practice this simplifying an expression with nested parentheses, okay, and practicing the distributive property. All right, so those are the solutions. Your homework is to look at this. If there's anything on here or on the calculator section that you have questions about, bring it up in class.